Through the Ravine, Detroit Tigers baseball is on tap today. Talk about the best team in the American League, the Detroit Tigers. Who had that on their bingo card? I did. Well, kind of, sort of did. I picked Detroit to go to the World Series and represent the American League, and they're kind of making me look smart so far. Other teams kind of hanging around in the mix there, but yeah, the Tigers are off to a really amazing start, and this is a team that can no longer be slept on. Of course, we saw them make their little Cinderella run last season, and after starting the season at Dodger Stadium, they got swept by the Dodgers once again. No shame in that. They started 0-3, and they went up to Seattle, and they got the job done there, and they haven't looked back. Being swept by the Dodgers has not really had an effect on them, losing 3 of the first 159 games. What do you know? Was not the end of the world, and they are now atop the American League standings at 20-13. Really quite impressive, I might add. Watching this team kind of blossom, because this was a Tigers team that for a while was stuck in the gutter, and not the gutter of making the postseason and not going deep. They were just flat out missing it, and missing it by a mile. And I think this might be a time where the Tigers are going to be in the mix year in and year out, and that is certainly going to be a case to be making, because they are in a weak division. We talk about it all the time. Until we see improvements out of the American League Central, we cannot classify the AL Central as a strong division. And the Tigers, there is a runway there for them to strangle hold of that division for years to come. They did not win the division last year. They are looking to do that this year. What is going right in Detroit? Tigers fans, chime in if you're watching this video. Let me know more. I watch as much baseball as I can. Look at the league as a whole is what I love to do, talk baseball. And I just really do think this Tigers team is really good. And they surprised me last year. I'm going to be honest. I thought they would get better, but making the run that they did, the Astros in the wild card round on the road, like, that was really impressive. Looking forward to seeing what they have in store this season, but it's off to a good start. Why is it off to a good start? Well, we'll start with their pitching, and we'll start with Tariq Schoolball, because he is the reigning Cy Young winner. I think that's a good place to start with Tariq. I mean, you have to have your horse at top of the rotation, and Tariq Schoolball certainly is their horse. There's no doubt about that. I think he might be looking for a contract here in the next year or two, but as of right now, the Tigers do have their horse that is going to push them the limits. Jack Flaherty winning a World Series with the Dodgers, traded from Detroit at the deadline last season, re-signs in Detroit, and I think he just felt comfortable there, and it's worked out once again this year. Is off to a pretty decent start. Jack Flaherty is an anchor to any rotation, and he's going to anchor down that rotation once again in Detroit. Then you have guys that have been there with the Tigers that were drafted by Detroit, in Casey Mize and Reese Olson. Rebuild years of Detroit Tigers didn't necessarily perform all that well, but now they're seeing them playing good baseball behind them. Their numbers have improved, and that is certainly a big thing. You need your draft picks to hit, and when you come out of a rebuild, you need those guys to hit. And Casey Mize and Reese Olson, not going to have your star potential or 1 and 2 potential guys, but only solid middle rotation guys with upside to starter in them. Open isn't half bad as well. Their offense is out of the ball, and I look at this lineup, and again, there's no name that necessarily pops out to you on paper. I mean, if you're just a casual watcher of baseball, like, who are these guys? Kind of felt that way last year. Who are these guys? But a lot of gadget players. These are gadget baseball players, and when you have a gadget baseball players on your team, that's going to really open the doors to different kind of ways that they can beat you, and that is certainly the case with the Tigers. You'll pinpoint different players, but Torkelson, speaking of draft picks, Spitz Torkelson, one of their top picks, I think it might have been the number 1 pick, and Torkelson got off to a rough start in the big leagues again with some bad Tigers teams, but as the Tigers have picked up their place, so has Spencer Torkelson. I'm not sure is he ever going to reach an MVP type level or anything like that, or having a career year just in 1 month, but things are looking good for Spencer Torkelson. He's off to a good start. Like I mentioned, a former number 1 pick, so that guy needs to hit. There's no doubt about that, and he's doing that over at first base. And then you have Zach McKinstry leading the Tigers in average. Zach McKinstry, a former Dodger, and he was a call-up with the Dodgers, actually a draft pick by the Dodgers, and Had a cup of coffee with the Dodgers. Wasn't half bad with the Dodgers, but the Dodgers eventually did let him go because second base was kind of taken at that point. Zach McKinstry goes on. A couple teams later, he ends up with the Tigers, and he's fitting pretty well in Detroit. He's found a home in Detroit. Good for Zach McKinstry. Good little gadget player. Javier Baez. Now this one is a crazy one. Javier Baez, we thought this guy was in the mud, would never make it out, and he's now playing the outfield, making highlight reel catches in center field, and he's actually hitting the baseball, batting just below 300 this year. That is remarkable stuff, and honestly, I'm happy for Javier Baez. You want to see guys do well, and Javier Baez doing well, and he has a major contract to live up to. We'll see if he ever does live up to that contract, but nonetheless, it's just really nice to see that Javier Baez is actually looking like he's having fun again, playing well, and the Tigers are winning with him playing well in center field. I mean, we know El Mago as the magician shortstop, but he's in the outfield now. Riley Green, another homegrown Tiger. Riley Green has done really well, kind of sparking the rebuild and coming out of this rebuild. Riley Green, pretty much their middle of the order hitter in the outfield, and Riley Green is another top-notch player of the Detroit Tigers and leading the Tigers to a American League best record so far this season. Let me know in the comments, can Detroit keep it up? I think they can. Like I said, this is a sneaky team that can represent the American League. The AL isn't a juggernaut whatsoever. Honestly, the American League is like really mediocre. It's really mediocre, and it's anyone's game to come out of the American League. Your guess is as good as mine. Not as top-heavy as the National League. So the Tigers, can we see a deep October run in Detroit? Let me know in the comment section down below. I will talk to you guys again next time.